Welcome to the InfoGov Hot Seat Vodcast, featuring candid interviews with practitioners, consultants, and solution providers on hot topics in the information governance industry. Here's your host, Jim Merrifield.
Welcome to the InfoGov Hot Seat. I'm your host, Jim Merrifield, and with me today is Jacqueline Stockwell at Leadership Through Data. Welcome, Jackie.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you on the hot seat all the way from the UK, spending some time on your Friday afternoon
Only
with
for you.
the hot seat audience. Yeah, awesome. I feel special. Well, let's kick this off. Can you tell us a brief introduction of your role and one fun fact about yourself?
I sure can. So I'm CEO and founder at Leadership Through Data. I set the company up 6 years ago in the UK, where previously I was an information manager within the National Health Service. I really wanted to give some more enthusiasm and excitement to training within the data protection and records management because it's such an important job, but it's also trying how you can get people involved. So I set up my company, and I know we've got a few questions about how we do certain things, so I won't steal all the questions from you.
That's fine.
And then we moved because of our Microsoft 365 records management course into Australasia, and now we're just fit in the US as well. So that's very exciting. So that's me. One fun fact is that I like to find old things and give them new life. And I brought you something to show you. This is an old back wheel. I like to upcycle things so it becomes a decoration. It's just behind me.
That's awesome.
Just behind me on my old kitchen wall panels. So I always like to find something new out of something old.
Yeah, hey, that's innovative.
Thanks. My mind is always going all the time. It doesn't stop.
Well, I know your LinkedIn profile says you're an entrepreneur, right? So that's like the background. You just keep thinking and implementing and see where it takes you. So thanks for sharing that. And so let's get into your company a little bit and Microsoft 365 in general. I know it's really hot right now with Copilot and Microsoft pumping out so many articles around Copilot and other things and AI. So how do you tailor your Microsoft 365 training programs to meet the specific needs and skill levels of individuals and organizations? I know that's a mouthful, but it's like I think there's so much need for M365 training out there, and I know your Leadership Through Data is a training company, right? So how do you tailor your programs? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So there's three aspects from my point of view for this. When we set up, we basically look at what our customers need and what our customers are asking for. We really need associations across the world as well. So what are those requirements? We move that back into sort of our internal team, and we kind of make discussions about what would be the best fit. So we created our records management 365 course SharePoint in 2019. Now we launched that because that was what our customers were asking for. And then we found a lot of our customers had gone on to the records management 365 course to learn about retention labels, metadata, security compliance, how to do their information architecture. And then they did no SharePoint. So we then kind of had this whole thing that we had to step back a little bit and start creating learning pathways. So we have several learning pathways for where you are in your Microsoft journey. So we just launched our e-learning platform for all users. So that's for any application for Word, Excel, to-do list. I thought I knew about to-do, but I'd actually done a training course and I learned a whole lot of stuff that I did peak and that I knew about. But actually, it's then from skill levels, so how you can then start to go up that learning pathway. I'm very notorious to say to everybody, I'm not about just selling loads and loads of training courses. We're actually about trying to find the effective pathway for an information manager, a privacy officer. So if you don't know SharePoint, you need to do SharePoint fundamentals first before you then start to go into, say, retention levels or metadata. If you're looking at running a Microsoft 365, you need to design your information architecture first. Like if you're looking at your labeling, your sensitivity labeling, you need to have made sure you've done SharePoint first, and then you kind of move on, because then how will you understand how the eco-product system works? But it's the same thing within all of our courses. We tailor-make for the people within the course. So where we've designed the courses, we've designed it around learning styles. So we use pictorial pictures. I'm dyslexic, so I know completely different. Very visual, group discussions. And actually, you can learn so much more from other people than you can just from the trainer there. You're just like sharing knowledge. So it's about allowing that space within the training environment. And there's also that practical hands-on. So the case studies, or this is how you apply a retention label in Microsoft 365. Or, we have designed Cluedo, so the gamification aspect inside our environment. So Madrid's, I think you'd last call it Clue or Cluedo, but we call it Cluedo in the UK. But he had this guy, Professor Plum, and Tuna Hall, and you kind of get there.
All right, so Clue. Yep.
Clue, yeah, I thought you called it Clue. And the reason why we've done that is that the more advanced people going onto a course can look for the learner within inside the SharePoint environment. But the people that aren't so advanced, they kind of work towards the training courses. So we're always trying to adapt skill levels within each of our training.
Oh, that's great.
Is that all right? You mentioned.
No, I love it. I love it. You mentioned, Microsoft To Do. I use that every day, so I'm gonna have to check out that. Maybe some fun tricks and tips and things like that. I use that every day just to keep. It's almost like a virtual checklist, right?
It is, and it's. I was just going to digress really. I talk about a learning curve, which basically you start from your comfort zone. If you're in your comfort zone, you can kind of come down when you're learning a new skill, and then you go up, and then you go to like an expert zone. And it's the same thing with like education, or in any walks of life, not just education. That's you used to do, but actually, probably if you did a to-do course, you'd probably find some more functionalities that you wouldn't know that were available to you, because you sat in your comfort zone where you are on the user to do. So it's all about kind of like that. Yeah. I always say growing your mind. Let's grow our minds.
Yeah, no, it's good. Learning is good, and it's good for the mind. So you mentioned in your comments about case studies, right? So can you provide examples of real world scenarios or case studies where your training led to measurable improvements in productivity or efficiency for an M365 user?
I can do. And for that question, I want to talk about people. So there's two customers. Sure. One of the first customers in the UK that attended the first Record Management 365 course. Met him in person, went and rolled out the course. And he was working for an organisation that wanted to roll out Microsoft. So he came to the course, he knew some knowledge, but he didn't know the practical application of that knowledge. So we worked through the course, and he went back to his organisation. And he actually then started to roll out the Microsoft 365 program. And what we like it is it gave him empowerment, it gave him autonomy, it gave him understanding, and it actually allowed him to have a seat at the table to talk to IT and say, actually, this is what's needed from the information management perspective. And that in itself is, for me, is the most powerful thing, because when we got new knowledge, we can actually, turn up to those conversations and be confident about what we're saying. He then went on, he left the organisation and then went on and did the same thing again to another organisation. Just because way that he's attended our training, explaining all that empowerment, all that projects, the skills through the organisation, and then decided to leave and do the same organisation as well. We had another customer in Australasia, pretty much the same thing, and they've taken on a 2-year life cycle. So a lot of people think it's going to be really easy doing when you implement Microsoft 365. We can do that in 3 months, and that's not the case. So it's a long kind of standing project with different key milestones in them. That customer in itself he went through all the Microsoft stack. So we were, as I said, about our learning pathways. So he went through them all. He upskilled himself before they eventually to the Microsoft 365 landscape. They've now spent a long time doing their information architecture, designing their ecosystem, having a voice of function, and now we're deploying. And I think from case scenario and a real world scenario, those to me very important to my heart because it's about the person that's had that impact on the organisation.
Yeah, you were able to build their confidence, and one individual was able to take that to another company. And so, but before he had that confidence and that knowledge, he probably didn't have too much empowerment, as you said, to be able to maybe talk to the technical people in the organization and for them to actually listen to what he or she had to say. So that's great. Hey, listen, if training is there's probably nothing more rewarding for a teacher, right, to see their students excel and progress and things like that. So that's wonderful.
Agreed. I cried, and they actually went and shared their story in the UK with one of the information management professionals conferences. So it was just such a nice kind of, and certainly from being an information manager and starting my own business, you actually kind of want people to get value from your services. And well, the best person in you.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's great. No, it's good. Hey, it's good to see results, and it seems that you have a lot of passion for this area. So you mentioned interactive learning methods a little bit in the beginning, or platforms. What kind of platforms do you incorporate into your training to ensure engagement and effective knowledge retention? It seems like you have some examples that you just shared that people do take your information and be able to kind of apply it to their organization. So you mentioned gamification. Is there anything else that you employ into your training methods?
Absolutely. The first thing you need is a good trainer who can do public speaking, and that is engaging and enthusiastic. That would be 100% my first thing you need to do. Hands-on exercises. So when you're utilizing the Microsoft 360 environment, you use a developer account, and you can actually, in a sort of sandbox area, start to create and play around with the system. Now, in terms around knowledge of like reinforcement, actually doing the activity actually helps to segment those learning chunks that you've learned. We use quizzes a lot. And there's a really good platforms for quizzes. We've used Zoom, Polypolls, Slido, Minty. And I really do like Quizzy because of data platform, because it moves. Because we don't actually, because human beings, we don't kind of a long attention span. So if you have something that moves in and out and you keep someone's attention span, you can actually then enhance some of the things you're trying to say to them. Very much all for discussions, because I learn very much from other people. I think people are fascinating, and actually your way might not be the right way. Someone else might have a good solution that you can choose what you want to embed from it. And that's where we kind of build within our training courses that space for the discussion. We've also got the gamification. So in the classroom, I've talked about our Clue on our online learning platform. We've got badges, so we've created leadership through data badges for the Microsoft courses, and then when the droplets come, we've got an additional enhanced level of those badges. My team are already in full competition mode about who can collect the most badges. So even just having something like that, it actually can enhance somebody to learn as well. One of the key things as well about knowledge retention is something called microlearning. Have you heard about micro?
I've heard the term, but explain it.
So it's basically short, manageable chunks. So I call it 522, which is why our leadership droplets is called 522 droplets. So it's like droplets of information. So it can be 5 minutes of a video. It could be 5 minutes of a case study. It's like 2 minutes of doing a quiz and activity, and then 2 minutes of coming back into the learning environment and segmenting. The word on use segmented. I've uploaded back to the environment. Or they could be things like, well, what AI tools does your organisation use? And it's something you have to go off and do and then find out. So they're all the key things. But definitely say using visual aids, because if you have any more than 7 bullet points on your slide deck, people will actually count the 7. So as soon as you start, everybody's mind's on counting how many bullet points they've got to sit through before you finish. So every time I tell somebody that, the next presentation they go to, they'll start counting. But it is, you as humans, we process pictures a lot quicker than we do text. So it's just about kind of making those things. And somebody's come to listen to you as a trainer or as you as a thought leader. So why do you need to put text on your slide? Because you should be the person that they listen to. But the visual aid helps in the background for memory retention later on.
Sure. No, that makes sense. I got a few presentations coming up, so I'm gonna make sure that I have no more than 7 bullets. Maybe I'll only have like 3 or 4 now that we had this conversation. I don't want somebody counting bullets. Maybe I'll ask that question.
I'll
Give the
definitely.
presentation. That's a good question at the end. Ask people, hey, listen, did you notice how many bullets I have on my slides? What's the average?
Well, sorry, I was going to talk about Copilot then, but yeah, when it I used to utilize Copilot, so I'm still going on to technology because that's not a good question.
Yeah, sure.
Love Copilot. It has absolutely revolutionized my working space. It's had about 3 weeks now, and I think it's a really good thing for productivity for employees. The only downside that I have with it is that when you ask it to create a PowerPoint presentation, it gives you a load of text on the slide deck. But from utilizing any AI tool, it is just there for the initial start of that thought process or that creativity that you wanted. So please remove the bullet points from your slide text. It's the one thing I have set with my complete the code by to make sure it doesn't have it on.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, let's stay on that topic of Copilot. Cool. Yeah, I mean, how do you see organizations? I mean, every organization is talking about, how we can utilize Copilot in our organizations. It used to be that you had to buy 300 seats. Now Microsoft got rid of that, and it kind of opened the floodgates, right? Like even our families can use Copilot. So really, every organization's focused on this. I think Legal Week was a couple weeks ago or last week. I can't remember now, but that was like all the topics there. I mean, you go on any blog and you go on LinkedIn, it's all about AI and Copilot. In your view, how should organizations adopt this kind of AI tech?
I think from the technical space of AI in terms of productivity and creativity, I think that's always phenomenally good. As I said, I have dramatically reduced the amount of I'm dyslexic, and it takes me about an hour to write an email. So pre-Copilot, I do a lot of avoidance. When I was creating presentations, it took me a long time to get it down on paper, like all in my head all the time. As soon as you put it down on paper, it just goes away. With the Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, because there's different Copilots. So the Microsoft 365 application one, which covers Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Teams, which is the one I'm utilizing. So you can basically brain dump into into your Outlook, and then say, "This is a response to email. This is what I want to say," and it will automatically generate you something quite quickly. Also looks at tone. There's a coaching aspect on there as well. It's really good because if it's just like a keyboard bashing one day and you're trying to send an email, it can coach you to not send that, or it can regenerate something for you as well. So I do see that there's some improvements with Copilot. The biggest thing when you're trying to roll out Copilot with the organisation is you just need to make sure the permissions are set appropriately. So Copilot is very different from ChatGPT. ChatGPT is AI tool based on browser, whereas Copilot is within your own tenant. So you need to make sure that you've got all your security permissions are set. And then, because otherwise staff can access things that they shouldn't really be seeing. There's 3 steps that I would suggest. So you need to recognise, you can identify security risks within your existing environment. Now, you can do that via technology, or you can just do an assessment, and Leadership Today has something through that. And then you need to protect the secure you've identified your risks, and then you need to secure your environment. And then one of the biggest things is you need to train your users on how to use it. Because you're going to roll out some, fancy piece of technology, but if people are trained on how to use it, it's also expensive as well, as you alluded to. So you don't want to roll it out unless anyone's appropriately trained. And then make sure you've got proper access controls as well. And then lastly is you just want to maintain it and track it, and just make sure that the ongoing security and permission set are to what you want it to be. So I've just done that there for last cycle week. That's kind of would be my suggestion to you. But I have to say it has, I'm as excited as everyone else about it. Because it is fun and whizzy, and so much so that we're creating a course on it as well. So how to use it from an end user perspective. And also the things that I've just covered in the larger context as well. I have noticed there's not actually that much training available for Copilot.
Yeah, it's like trial and error, So we'll look out for that training drop, at some point, and I'm sure you'll be busy because everybody's looking at Copilot, how to use it, no matter what organization we're in. I know as information governance professionals, we're wondering, how is this technology utilizing or crawling our data? Can we segregate it while still producing knowledge to our end users? So it's going to be interesting, right?
It is going to be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So Jackie, we talked about a lot. And I think ending with Copilot is probably the proper thing to do. But I want to ask you one final question for our audience. Is there any, last bit of final thoughts that you wanted to share? Anything that I didn't ask that you wanted to share with our audience?
The one thing that I'm very passionate about is just to make sure that you are who you are. So just continue to do your authentic self, really. A lot of the customers that I work with, and in the wider communities as well, there's this fear of just kind of going out of the norm, and certainly with presentations as well. And it's, if you've sat and watched through a bad presentation, don't steal someone else's time and do the same thing again. Be authentic. You're laughing, Jim, but be authentic. Think outside the box. And don't fear it, because if it doesn't, the most thing that can happen is it doesn't work, and you just make a tweak and try again. That's what I would say.
Listen, that's great advice, because I think with AI, there's a tendency for anyone to, grab a presentation and just rewrite it, right? And then the authenticity goes away. So it'll be interesting to see how AI helps. I think it could definitely produce better presentations, definitely better PowerPoints, right? Visual. easier on the eyes, but I think you hit the nail on the head there with content, right? Content, it's nice when content is authentic, because there's really no one that no two people that talk the same language, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And I
So
think
that's
it's
great.
really important because when you are using Copilot or you're using ChatGPT, I can never say ChatGPT. I'm not even sure, you know what I mean. But you have to actually plug somebody in to get something out. So you could say, "Oh, can you give me a report template?" Right? So you'll just get a basic standard report template. But when you've done like presentations, so I'm doing this a bit of a speaker submission this year, and I'm doing about sharks and public speaking. So I'm talking about all the different varieties of sharks and how they link to all the things you need to do with public speaking. So that was my creativity that I put into AI, and with the help of AI, it's then continued on my authentic journey, but it has provided me with something that I haven't got to spell check grammar or kind of things like that. For me, that definitely helps, but it can really enhance the creativity. I think there is some fear around it's going to matter if the job's away, but that isn't the case because you'll need a human being at front, in the middle, and I'd say at the end as well. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Well, listen, Jackie, thanks so much for joining us today on the hot seat, and everyone else for attending today's episode. Again, please visit our website, infogovhotseat.com, to view our latest episodes. If you'd like to be a guest on the hot seat like Jackie here, all you need to do is submit your information through our website. And again, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the InfoGov Hot Seat. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and LinkedIn. Check out our main website at infogovhotseat.com to view our latest episodes and much more.